All right, I'm gonna call the order of the Hancock County regular meeting.
I'm going to move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public comment? Seeing none. Approval of the minutes?
I'm going to move to approve the minutes of the June 18th Commissioners' Special Meeting as presented.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Willard?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
These are the documents, the continuation of joining this Central Maine Highlands Fire District with Howland and all the others. Just more paperwork. We've already talked about this.
Okay, the monthly report, was there anything to add, Millard, or?
No,
Okay, so I'm going to move to accept and file the UT monthly report as presented.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And then, Millard, I think you've touched on this, so I don't think I'm preempting you, but I'm going to move to approve the special district agreement for the provisions of fire and emergency rescue services as presented and authorize the chairperson to sign.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And then Millard, same thing on this one, am I, okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna move to complete this, move to complete the establishment of an entry into the Central Maine Highlands Fire and EMS District number 1.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any other news, Miller?
thank you, Commissioners. Mans Ridge Road is done.
Oh, wow.
If you've got free time, want to go for a joyride, it's
I'm gonna try to fly over it.
yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Miller.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Leroy, you're up.
Hey there, good morning. Only thing we did hear from a second airline for Essential Air Service boutique. So those were due to close yesterday and get into the USDOT. So I'm suspecting in a few weeks we'll hear back from them on who submitted proposals, and then we'll get the advisory committee together and have a meeting and then get some information off to you. Other than that, nothing for the report.
So I'm gonna move to accept and file the airport monthly report as presented.
Second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
So this other one is a request for a new G account where we're generating some income down at the Seaplane Ramp parking lot. I'd like to have an account just set aside so we can use those funds in the future to make some repairs down in that area. That was the intent of this G account.
Monica, do you believe it's necessary us to approve new accounts?
Well, I just wanted to make sure I was doing my due diligence by having him make you aware that we are setting up this separate G account.
It also depends on the nature of the account. So if you're considering it to be like a reserve per se, then I would argue that, yeah, that would be within your prerogative to have to approve reserve accounts.
If this was a budget reserve.
No,
It's a G account.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And that's Leroy's intent here, right? Is to create a reserve over time. You'll have.
Right. To use the funds that are generated in that area for that area.
We want to put them into a G so that we can reserve them year to year, correct?
Correct.
And I guess that should be perhaps what we agree upon is we'll agree to G accounts.
Yeah. So I'm gonna move to authorize the county treasurer to establish a ramp road receipts G account within the airport fund number 2, with such funds to be intended to be used for repairs to the area in the future.
Second motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's all I had.
Oh, did I lose everybody?
No,
No.
you're there.
Okay, good.
All right, EMA.
I'm gonna move to accept and file the EMA monthly report as presented, because I don't think Andy's here, right?
Second motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Hello,
what do we have today?
I'm requesting approval of the upgraded purchase of uniforms for jail staff for a total not to exceed $13,619 from Trident Armory to pay for ARPA funds.
All right, I understand it's essentially a necessity because we can't.
We just can't get the brown shirts, that's where we're at. I mean, we get the pants, but we can't get the shirts. So we're looking, so you know, kind of a polo like this, a lot of jails are going to it, and the same pants, so. And jackets, and
The same pants that you have.
well, no, they're black, we have to go, I don't, black and brown, so this is the total for everything, so. Yeah.
All right, Paul, you ready?
Yeah, and I'm not questioning, but there's 90 shirts, is that right? 90 pants?
Yeah, per county policy, we need, not county policy, union agreement, everybody has to have 3 sets of uniforms.
Wow, I didn't realize we had that. Okay, so that's like,
This will get, so this is also our part-time staff needs to be outfitted also, they'll have
Oh,
one or
okay.
2, so.
yeah, so there's 30 people, huh?
Yeah, when you throw in Lieutenant Shepherd, community correction specialist and jail assistant, jail administrative assistant.
Yeah, I'm not questioning, I just didn't realize the number was that big.
Yep, as they come and go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna move to approve the upgrade and purchase of uniforms for jail staff for a total not to exceed $13,619 from Trident Armory to be paid from ARPA funds as requested.
Second motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Request permission to promote Dominic Mitchell to full-time corrections officer effective July 6, 2024, pay rate 9A with full benefits.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Request permission to promote Deborah Robertson to full-time corrections officer effective July 6, 2024, pay rate 9A with full benefits.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And finally, request permission to allow jail administrator, assistant jail administrator, and jail administrative assistant to work a 4-day work week.
All right, so can you do your justification? Why you want to change it?
Should we?
Can you tell me why we're changing it?
Well, it's a fluent week. Sometimes working 10s, I work 12s, and they're asking to have it moved. So they're not working a 12-hour day, one day, and then 8s the next, and basically reducing overtime costs. And these are non-union positions.
So tell us, how does this change coverage? Does this, I mean, how does,
It does, but we will not take the same days per week off. It'll be staggered. And it could be more of a fluent week, that if somebody ends up working, 4 10s come Thursday, they might have Friday off, or they might have to take a Wednesday off. I mean, it's just gonna be a rotating schedule. We're just trying to prevent overtime within the staff, the cost, and they're willing to do this. We're saying a 4-day work week, but it's more of a fluent work week. But it will be agreed upon the 3 of us that will not have 3 days off. We will not be off together. There will always be admin in the building, if that helps.
well, yeah, that's what, I'm not opposed to it. I was just, looking for, the justification. I wish we sort of had it in writing so I understood it, but I think I understand it. I don't know how everybody else feels. I lose everybody?
I think it's pretty straightforward. There's only three of them. They work 40-hour work. They're just gonna work 4 10s. It makes more sense than some of the schedules we've approved for the sheriff's department, so I'm not opposed to it.
All right, I'll call the vote. All those, did you do a motion?
No, I did not, so, I'm gonna move to approve the jail administrator changing the work schedule for the jail administrator, assistant jail administrator, and the jail administrative assistant to work a 4-day work week to provide for better coverage as requested by the jail administrator.
I got a motion.
Gives an update as you go.
I will. But another big thing this does, this puts us supervise us seeing the night shift more often.
Well, and it sounds like there's gonna be you're gonna be scheduling some, there's always administration there. I think is your goal here, is that right?
Yes, and this administration will be working, we'll be seeing the night shift on a more frequent basis. To have communication with them face to face and by phone and such.
But this, I think you're only talking about the 5-day work, 5 days, right? You're not talking about 7 days.
Right.
Right, it's just that there's 2 of them will be working every 5 days, the traditional work week, Paul. It's not 7 days.
So is my motion seconded?
Yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. I will keep you updated.
Commissioners,
Morning.
Kind of update the report.
nothing to add, except I do have the results back from our mold testing, came back yesterday afternoon. And
What are you telling us?
they're telling us that there's no significant problem in the DA's office. They did a control sample outside, which is 80 parts per million, and found inside that of the 4 areas they tested, 3 were close to that, 80 to 100. And the third was at 300 parts per million. And they don't consider anything below 750 to 1,000 parts per million to be a problem. So we're gonna follow up with the deep cleaning and Clorox 360 and kind of repair and replace any damaged ceiling tiles or stained ceiling tiles and kind of press the reset button on that.
What's the flooring in the areas that you're having the problem?
The flooring, almost all carpet or tile.
So that's the carpet, that I worry about.
But yeah, other than the upstairs, that's a good point. We replaced a bunch of the carpet in recent years, a bit last year, the corridors, but some of the offices could do with them.
Might be something that when we start looking to like our bigger plan for what's gonna happen with the space, or
It is part of,
it might be something that we wanna.
it's part of the interior upgrade that's listed in the 5-year plan.
Have you discussed this with the DA yet?
I sent him the results of the report and haven't talked to him personally yet. but
He was gonna have some testing done himself.
He was doing a swab type testing in his office and at his house.
You haven't heard back from him on
No,
results. He thought it would only take 3 days to get those.
Yeah, I haven't heard back, but, and then I did meet with another company, the Aris, who recommended air purification. They did some testing of the air, but it wasn't of this level of sophistication as the other group. Yeah.
So this sounds like good news, right?
It is good news, yes.
Okay, so I guess it feels like I'm missing something. Has there been a problem that brought this on or?
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Granger had has a condition that requires some above and beyond testing, would you put it? And it came back to an exposure to mold. And so, once we heard that, we sprang into action to try to eliminate the county as a contributor to that. That's, mold exists, in fact, mold's very beneficial, it's a misunderstood thing, but it also can be very dangerous, and we don't want to take it lightly.
Okay, so we've ruled out the county, basically.
Yeah, and yes, except for those provisions that we'll take, which are a matter of sanitation and housekeeping anyway.
Right, anything else to add?
No,
Okay, so I'm gonna move to accept and file a maintenance monthly report as presented.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
next I'll request the approval to hire Colin Soames of Orrington as part-time student worker at a pay rate of $5A to be paid from the part-time budget. And he's a work permit which has been approved and sent to Mary Ann's office.
How old is this,
14.
and how many hours a week?
During the summer months, he can work up to 40, but it's very limited during the school year to, I believe, 3 hours a day, twice a week, or something along those lines.
What's he gonna be doing for work?
He's going to be doing medium labor, weeding the gardens, bedding, sweeping out here. I mean, we've had such trouble finding part-timers that I figured when a kid came and said he wanted to work, and see if we could make it happen.
I think that's great, and if he's got a work permit and everything's in order, so moved.
Second,
My only advice is somebody who manages for a lot of range ages.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, he'll be under the direct supervision of Dave or John.
All right.
well, I wish you all the luck in the world. I struggled with students for years at the cemetery, volunteers.
Yeah, I'll bet, yeah.
I never, I can't say never, but it was a difficult process. Takes the right kid to do it.
Well, there is, I know personally, we have, we've struggled also, but this year we have a great example of just this, so there is hope.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Project updates. The stairwell project and the steps project, they have resumed work. The storefront in the sheriff has been done, installed, looks really good. E.L. Shea is on site working to rebuild that entrance area that was damaged when we did the demolition. And they're looking at doing the finish milling and sealing of the concrete steps and slabs.
I forget where we at on is the rail
The
still?
rail still is out for production right now. It's, yeah, insane. But these companies that do it are in such demand that the first they had to change vendors because the first one would respond, but tell them you're a year out or more. With the stainless that we were looking at, and this black powder coated wrought iron is a little more readily available. And they're saying, well, it's like that, I forget the name every time we talk to them, they say 2 weeks, 2 more weeks. But we know that we've got, their drawings are completed finally. They're with the manufacturer who's putting it together. It's just a matter of when will it be delivered and installed. And sooner rather than, and they're preparing next week to do the tower glass, which I guess has come in, but on
Windows are in?
the glass is in, yes. And on the eastern side, some of those walls were not even attached to be rebuilding those. For a little safer condition, hopefully. No wonder anyone didn't.
Shea can't complain about the workmanship he built.
Yeah, well, this second set of eyes. And then with the plumbing project, we've got parts are in. We've got electricians starting tomorrow. And Nicholas Plumbing is going to be on site next week to start cataloging and installing the fixtures.
Monica, in our ARP financing and whatnot, have we set a sum aside for these projects.
Yeah.
So in the balance that you're giving us for available, we've taken this out, so we don't, this
Yes.
doesn't come out of the balance.
Yeah, it's
That's
around-
right.
Around 600 or so.
The plumbing project, the phase one was 100,000.
Yes, 105, but with the other project as well. I think it was 240
So no, that hasn't been set aside, the second,
for the stairs.
oh, the stairs, yeah,
Yeah, but not the second half of the plumbing.
no,
We don't have that information yet, Rob.
What do you project that to be? Second half.
About the same, around 100.
100. So if you have estimates that,
Yeah, they still haven't, they need to open up the ceiling out
Yeah.
there, which hasn't happened yet, but
We should you take another, reserve another 100, so that we. I'm just concerned that, I mean, we've only got 6 months left to commit that funds, I'm just concerned there'd be a big rush at the end.
yeah, I really, now that I know it's 100, I can,
how about,
Okay.
well, let me talk with Todd Nichols and see what he thinks.
Yeah.
About the cost for that before I speak too much more.
Okay.
But I'd say that, and if it's different, then I think we'd like to know that before.
Right.
Well, I
You see what
suggest we
his
take
sense
out
is.
more than we need, so that we be sure to have enough.
For sure.
We still haven't figured out what we're doing material wise, right?
Right, underneath. Well, we know, we've got a plan. The logistics of it are still unknown.
Very true. All right. Anything else?
And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Give a highlight you want to discuss on your report?
I think the biggest thing is, we had something that came in after I submitted a report on the 27th in the afternoon, the RCC staff took a 911 call from a panicked juvenile in Bar Harbor where it ended up being drowning. Our folks coordinated with Bar Harbor, Trump Fire Department, Marine Patrol, and the Coast Guard. It's quite a sad issue. A 20-year-old male at Parish trying to rip tie, I believe is what he ended up coming up with. So other than that, just they're working hard and things are going. All the lines picking up slowly and visitors are here.
Yeah. So I'm gonna move to accept and file RCC monthly report as presented.
Second,
Those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Got your,
So we had talked a while back about moving the radio equipment out of the attic space above the drug court. The access is a very steep metal railing. There's no climate control in there, and it's very difficult to impossible to run alternate power up there if the generator fails. So I know we probably talked about this before. So the idea is to move the radio equipment down into the hallway, the basement. Makes it easier for the vendor to access it. There's a window there. Worst case, we can run a generator outside with a cable in it. We had, actually had to, along with the battery backup server. To do that, they would basically, they're looking to bring the equipment down 3 levels to the basement where we had talked with Brown's, with our electrical vendor and maintenance about pathways for antenna cables and things like that, where the original plan was to bring them outside the building, but that started becoming very pricey because they had to be attached to brackets on the building. So what we looked at doing was basically coming in through the fire escape section, just bring the cables down through that instead of drilling through people's offices and stuff, which that seemed to be the easiest and most secure way. Which is where we're at today with some quote for some borings through the floors and electrical work. We basically need to run some power down there and some data cables. We should have a proposal from Ron Bishop. We had discussed putting this out to bid. It seemed like a pretty small project overall. So we kind of voted to go with Ron does a lot of our electrical work is very familiar with our building. We have a good relationship with them. We did solicit 2 bids for the borings. They both came back the same price. But one, we didn't get a formal quote. Is it Maine? What was it? The Maine,
Main concrete and flooring.
they gave us a verbal, but no actual quote. And Ron came back with a quote of the same price. We would best maybe not to exceed price because that's pretty minor boring stuff.
So the second bid from Bishop for the holes, that's for
Yeah, the whole penetration is down for the decks. Yeah, because they're gonna actually come in, instead of going outside of the building, they're gonna, there's the little hip roof up beside the room that's in now, they can just come down through there, so pouring out into outside the building, having more cables dangling over the side of the building.
So this is in addition to the project that was approved in May to,
No, this is all part of it. We just didn't know. We actually had estimated an additional 10,000 for the work. It's actually 65 or 7,000. So we're actually three or 4,000 under. But we did have that as part of the relocation. I think we estimated 31,000 for that. Should have been that.
So,
oh, I'm sorry. The whole project that was approved was 124,000 for relocating the battery backup system.
Well, there was actually 2 separate projects. There was the backup radio system should have been part of that, and which already been approved. This was only 31,000. This was specific portion of relocation.
So Bob, this is the first time you've actually presented actual numbers.
We had an estimate of 31,000. Yeah.
Okay.
When we talked about it during the workshop.
Okay,
So
okay.
it wouldn't be on the spreadsheet yet, I don't believe,
No,
because they haven't
no,
officially.
we were waiting for the quotes back.
Okay. Separate project.
okay, so that's my question. This is the project that we talked about in the workshop. Just with real numbers now instead of estimates, is that correct?
It's actually about 3,000 less than the estimate.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the project. This is not in addition. This is what we talked about.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So I'm ready to go with motions if.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna move to approve the proposal from Brown's Communication Incorporated to relocate 7 attic radios for the sum of 21,000 with such funds to be paid from ARPA funds as requested.
We're gonna have a separate motion for Ron Bishop.
Yes, I'm gonna have 3 motions.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye. I'm gonna move to approve the proposal from Ronald Bishop to supply the labor, cables, and wiring needed to relocate 7 attic radios for the sum of $3,553.29 with such funds to be paid from ARPA funds as requested.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye. And the reason I'm doing these all separate is because that's sort of how they came in. Process, so, last one is I'm gonna move to approve the proposal from Ronald Bishop to drill 4 holes for this antennas for the sum of $2,800 with such funds to be paid from ARPA funds as requested.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. So you sort of broke up when you quantified this. This is less than what we talked about in the workshop by 3,000, you said, or 5,000?
Roughly 3,000. We estimated about 3,100, and it actually comes into just over 2,700. So,
Okay,
or 27,000. Sorry.
yeah. So I'm just trying to, in my mind, make sure that we're not, going over what we've talked about, and we're not.
When do you expect the project to actually happen?
I'm gonna get a hold of Browns and get them to order the equipment. And so that probably won't be for several months.
Right, thanks.
Sure, thank you.
Right.
Well, we're gonna be talking about something, in IT here that is battery backups thing. Does that relate to this project at all?
No.
Now,
Okay.
Okay,
we don't have anybody from IT here.
That check's on vacation.
Damien's supposed to be up here.
Things.
All right, we'll skip that for a moment. Human resources. Anything to add to the monthly report? No.
okay, so I think I heard Mary Ann say no, is that correct?
Correct. Nothing to add.
Okay, sorry, you broke up on me. I'm gonna move to accept and file a human resources monthly report as presented. Thank you.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now I've got the monthly bills and warrants.
Move to accept and approve the monthly bills and warrants as presented.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Mental health services agreement.
This was approved at the last meeting. The $6,000 a month contract, but at that time, it wasn't made clear that this was to be paid from the opioids funds, and I just want to make that clarification.
I thought that was my understanding.
Morning, this is Dave down at the Hancock County Courthouse. Good, how are you? Yeah, you can cancel that call for us. Yeah, we're all set. It was misinformation. It was something else. Making the trouble. The washer's fine.
Okay,
All
so,
right, thank you. Yep, bye-bye.
so my understanding was that this was coming out of the opioid funds. Is that how the other commissioners remember it?
Okay, I just wanted,
Well, I'm gonna have a motion to clarify, but I just wanna query the rest of the board to make sure that you agree.
Money, we're gonna use it, so,
okay,
all right,
Okay, so do you want a motion?
yes.
Yes, okay, so I'm gonna move that the June 18th, 24 action taken on mental health services agreement with AMHS Incorporated be paid from opioid funds.
second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
thank you.
thank you.
And this place has been working for a long time with a very poor payroll system. And I've been doing research for a year, if not more, on which system to change over to. Things move slowly only because we're always busy working on people. No, because we're busy, and I wanted to make sure that we found a system that was appropriate in making that big change. That's a big change, to change payroll
Well, the
carriers.
cheapest is not. It isn't the cheapest, but paychecks seem to be the more attractive system.
Yes,
It is pretty close to what we're paying, so we
Yes.
wouldn't be a big change in the budget.
Paychecks is, that's right, and Paychecks is what a lot of municipalities use. And they work well with law enforcement departments around the state and locally.
What would be your recommendation?
It would be a toss up between Machias Savings Bank and Paychecks, but only because Machias Savings Bank, I hear good things about them. It would be a complete system, but we would still have to stick with our time tracking that we currently have, which is also kind of sticky to work with. So I think I would probably try to go with Paychecks.
So
How much do we pay for?
I have a couple questions around that. The time tracking that we have is something that's sounds like it's been around for a while. Monica, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, so that's something that's in our future unless we do the paychecks option.
that's right.
Okay, so that's important to know. And then the paychecks method of keeping time, is that workable? I mean, it sounds like they use some sort of mobile device
That's right.
method, and I just want to make sure that that's, I know in our industry that works for some people, that doesn't work for others, but you feel comfortable that it'll work for the county?
Yes, yeah, the AOD is similar, people have the option to clock in at a clock on the wall or at their desk. And this would be the same idea, it would probably just be a change in hardware.
Well, not so much hardware, it's software based, as I understand.
Right, but we would also have updated, we have a unit at the door when we come in at the employee entrance, and they have
Oh, okay,
different locations.
okay, and that's provided as part of this.
Right, right.
Okay, so we're not having to buy anything here, that's included.
I would have to check with the contact with Paychecks, but I believe that was all part of the change in the system would include the time clock system.
If I understand this correctly, though, we're gonna go to a new paycheck system. Time, which is going to be, that's a hell of a process.
That's right.
I remember when time track came, our payroll system, especially the sheriff's department, is so complicated and so involved and whatnot. Time tracks got to a point where they finally said, we've done all we're gonna do, and walked out. They couldn't even finish time tracks for the sheriff's department because they just couldn't keep up with all the nuances that
Right.
the sheriff. We're gonna have to go through that same thing. I'm really wondering if
There will be a transition, in fact, it could take as long as 6 months to make the transition. It's not gonna happen overnight.
just for them to learn the system is going to be a
But
couple months.
Paychecks has worked with, they work with Ellsworth law enforcement. They work locally with different law enforcements, and they understand the reporting that is required for the sheriff's department for their state reporting.
Good. Time is what they-
Right.
Yeah.
In the sheriff's department, they have to keep separate track of their time. They're duplicating the effort. Everybody's using the AOD time tracker, but the sheriff's department is using a separate spreadsheet just for keeping track of what they need for reports to the state.
Just take care of that.
This will take care of that.
Are other, from what I know, paycheck seems to be the answer. I just wanna make sure that, we don't have, there are other counties, and Ellsworth is certainly using it, it sounds like, but Ellsworth's not alone, right?
Ellsworth, not alone.
No, Ellsworth is not alone in using paychecks, there are other counties or.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, speaking with the brand new Chief Deputy Birch, I spoke to him specifically about this subject, saying, we have this program and it's jacked up and it's a piece of garbage and I've been trying to kill it since I got here. Because it makes no sense to take it from an Excel spreadsheet, access database, into Trio, into Evolution, and put it to the bank. That's 3 opportunities for errors and crap to kick in. And now you're paying 4 people extra time to redo the same thing that you're doing. And it's crap. We can't be the only people in the world that are doing this, that have a sheriff's department where they have 4 or 5 different things that they're doing with 5 or 6 different pay scales. Somebody else is doing the same exact thing that we're doing. Why the hell are we not doing what they're doing? And so when I talked to Chief Birch, he said, yeah, we use attendance on demand. And I was like, bam, blew my mind. I'm like, we're using attendance on demand, so why isn't it working? He says that it does multiple pay scales for multiple jobs for the sheriff's department there in Penobscot County. So I'm still flabbergasted that we've been doing it this way, this complicated.
Okay, so Dave, after all of that, what are your recommendations?
Yeah, that's.
The AOD, if they can handle it, then we go for it.
AOD is what we already have. Paychecks would take the place of AOD.
Oh, paycheck system, okay, then I apologize for interrupting.
No, but what you said is correct. I don't know. I guess I would like to talk to Birch and see, he was here earlier, but I didn't know that they were using AOD in Penobscot.
Well, I'm inclined to go with paychecks, but I want to make sure that paychecks can, it sounds like the sheriff's department is the complicated portion of this.
Right.
And I would want to make sure that paychecks is capable of handling this so that, you know, we're not going back. Are you confident enough of that, or do you want to, you know, do you want us to table this until you've spoken with more folks, or what's your recommendation?
I feel confident, but I'm willing to do more research and talk with the powers that be in the sheriff's department and see if they can benefit from this. Like I said, I've been working on this for a year now, so we can hold off for another month or so.
I hate to
Well-
say, talking to Michelle would be, hey, can this fit in these boxes? Can this do what you do?
Actually, yeah, it was actually, I skip people's names. What's his name? John. In the sheriff's department, John Mahon, that originally came to me and said, you know, the Ellsworth Police Department is using this and it's a much better system.
Paychecks.
Yes. He's seen it working.
Okay, so everybody's confident here that this is gonna work.
Sorry, Dennis, go ahead.
Yeah, I have no qualms with the timekeeping side of it. The paycheck and pay stub aspect, however, currently, we have to go online to view the pay stub. And I have some employees for whom that's a challenge. And I wonder if this new system would be the same as the Bangor payroll, or would there be a little easier access to a written pay stub, which, you know, it's old school these days, but that's what works best for them, because they only have one computer that they share.
Unfortunately, it would probably be a digital pay stub like it is now.
So similar,
Yes,
signing into a database.
yep, yep.
Okay. And benefit balances
If
and all
there are
that.
people that are having a hard time getting their pay stubs, you should be sending them to us so we can,
Yeah, well, what it is
we
is
help
that,
people every day, so.
you do that today, and then next week it'll be, you know, they'll be back.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
So like try it once or twice, you make a mistake and
yeah.
you're out, you gotta go get reset anyway. But anyway, just curious, it would,
That's still gonna be a digital system.
well,
Yeah.
I understand paychecks. You know, I don't know about this instance, but there's functionality where they can actually have it emailed to them so that it's, you know, they don't have to log into a system. Is that, I assume that's carries over here, is that?
I have 3 people that don't have email.
But it could go somewhere and somebody could print it, right?
Yeah, I could, Paul, yes. If that were the case, I could do it for them and have done so and would gladly do it. But I was just curious if this change would solve that little glitch that we have, that's all.
Yeah,
We
to
can
be,
get-
to
don't
be
worry.
frank, I don't think that any of the options that we're looking at would change that.
That part, yeah.
All right, where do we want to go with this?
You know, I can do more research and try to answer a few more of these questions if you want me to come back.
Quite frankly, I'm ready to make a decision.
Okay,
The fact that Ellsworth situations are very similar to the SO and the, you know, outside details and part-time work and all that. So, yeah,
But Monica, my only apprehension is not personal, it's just. Do you have an apprehension? Do you want more time? If you're ready to go, I'm ready to go.
We are ready to go.
Alright.
We've
Make a
been trying to
motion.
do this for
go
quite
ahead with your motion, Paul.
Okay, I'm gonna move to accept and approve the payroll services proposal from Paychex Incorporated as presented and as recommended by the treasurer.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Now, this is a big change, but I think from what knowing a little bit about evolution and just enough about the sheriff's department to be dangerous, I think this is gonna be a huge time savings,
I think
for
so.
the treasurer and the sheriff's department.
I think so. Thank you.
All right,
Now we have Banyan.
all right. If they come back to you.
I apologize for my lateness. I stayed with my sister last night over in Steuben and had to get through all the traffic and all the stuff for little lead time that I had disappeared very quickly. I'd like to bring to your attention the request for additional backup power. Currently, we had a situation where it was a community snicket, once in a lifetime event of catastrophic failures from top to bottom. And even though we had things in place, we could not anticipate that Dead River would come and then pour fuel into a system that would flush all the gunk and stuff up into the filter and shut everything off. We also didn't anticipate that the generators that we would have were inaccessible at another location or just weren't available. Right now, our APCs that run all of our servers and keep the RCC open and available, we have 2 units that are running 2 separate parts. And one of them is running for 38 minutes and the other one is running for 27 minutes. For the IT director to shut down those machines in the proper order to save them from being damaged, we need at least 20 minutes. That leaves us only like 10 minutes to actually get to the equipment. What I'm proposing, instead of buying a whole APC system, which would cost about $4,000 like the ones we have downstairs, and we just buy the external battery packs, which will extend the life of that coverage. I'm trying to get it to as close to 2 hours as I can. Currently, if you think about it, it's gonna take Chuck at least a half hour to get in here. So if something should happen where the power goes out and we're not able to get that power, by the time Chuck gets here, the machines have already dropped off. If possible failures and et cetera will happen. But with this extension, even myself, which is an hour and 20 minutes away, I still have time to come in and if need to shut the servers down. We don't anticipate that the events of last couple months will happen again because we're already taking standards and steps to test our equipment and make sure we have things in play. But it is a good practice to have sufficient time to orderly and in a manner that the machines would like, shut them down and save them from any possible damages. So the total is $5,006.
$5,391.88.
Yes, that's the, and if we go through Gov Connection, other than Amazon and Dell and everything else that I listed, we're gonna save the 200, almost 250 in shipping, because they will waive that for us because we are a customer with them.
So, okay, so we're in IT here, we're taking up item B before we take up A, is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Let's go for it.
So what's all this other information? Yeah, these prices, what's all this about?
Those are from competing vendors,
Okay, so you're not talking about anybody except,
Gov Connection. So there's a Dell representative, there's an Amazon price, and there is another third party. But they will charge us $300 for $300 for shipping. And if we use Gov Connection, we don't have to pay that $300.
so the quote for $5,391.88.
Gives us 4 backup battery
Yeah, but
units.
who is the vendor?
APC is the vendor, Gov Connection is the provider.
We purchased them through Gov Connection.
And because we have APC power supplies instead of Trip Light or some of the others, their connectors will not be interchangeable. They do that. All these vendors create their own connections. And so in order to get the battery backups to attach to the header units that we already have, we have to go with that company.
Yes, I understand.
So all you're doing is,
Extending.
yeah, but physically, you're plugging one, you have units now. You're plugging those units into these, is that?
Yes, we're taking, these are just battery packs, and we're plugging the battery packs into those current units that we possess, and it extends their battery life.
Accessory.
Okay, and then you just, you know, then you just have to maintain the batteries every couple of years.
That is correct.
And you think that's a cost savings over, because now you're gonna have 4 additional ones as opposed to just 4 bigger ones.
That is correct. For the price of getting these 4 units is the price of getting a new APC module like the one we have downstairs. So it's cheaper to get the batteries, and it just makes sense. Why have 4 expensive units when you can just add more batteries to it?
I just wanted to make sure you weren't creating getting 4 new pieces of equipment, maintaining 8 instead of 4, that's all.
No, this would be, they're just battery packs, so they're very simple. You just pull the battery out, put a new battery in.
Yeah.
It just amuses me that nowhere on this quote is the vendor's name.
Well, there was just so much,
Version?
there's so much information here. I wish that this was, sort of in a concise. Just left my head spinning. There was so much, but it now makes sense to me what he's doing.
That Eric Sedlisky at connection.com,
That's right after.
he's their salesman for GovConnect. He got them this quote. You're right, on here, nowhere on here does it say,
260.
other than his email address.
So that was the printout that he had, so you should also have a blue copy. But that one didn't show, there was some question because this one that showed 5,600 included the shipping. And being in one that you're referencing right now is the one that shows that they would not charge.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go, and then once again, this is an item that was not talked about at the ARPA workshop, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, but there's room in ARPA, I'm just hesitant to add projects here. This one's not a huge amount, but there's room in ARPA to do this.
Got the nod from Monica.
I don't know why you are holding everybody to what they presented 2 or 3 months ago, Paul. We told them back then, get your wish list together, get the details together, come back to us with it. I would want more definite information like this today than I did 2 months ago. It just,
No, I agree with you. My point is that this was not one of the items that was talked about, that's all.
nevertheless, I would say that the more articulate item, information is today, not 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm beating a dead horse again, but I'm looking at $5,391.88 as the purchase price. And I'm seeing that one of them adds $216 for shipping. Are we paying shipping?
No, if we go with GovConnection, who will provide us with the American Power Conversion or the APC power backup battery that we need, he told me specifically, and I have an email saying they will cut the shipping, the freight shipping that we require to ship that to us.
Just GovConnection?
Okay, so I'm gonna move to approve the purchase of 4 APC power packs through GovConnections at a price of $5,391.88, with such funds to be paid using ARPA funds as requested.
Second,
All those in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
I'd like to thank you for that purchase. It's gonna take a lot of weight off Chuck's mind, knowing that we'll have time to come in and fix the machines if it should ever happen.
Let's go to your coastal connections.
I believe the biggest part about the coastal connections and the consolidated contracts is the airport. It's still something that we haven't done. This past 2 weeks, we went around the building, we staged the new phones. We were very surprised, Mr. Carter was anyway, when he was able to make a couple changes and have everything up and running, which was very pleasant on our part, instead of a big headache we anticipated. We even have the DA up and running. We're going to test the systems and make sure everything's good and running before we cut over and take the old phones out. But once we do this, we get considerations for the RCC because they have to have physical landlines as opposed to the networking lines that we have. So if the power goes out, we lose whatever connectivity, as long as the phone center is running, then they can still receive emergency calls and make emergency calls. We have been relying on Bruno to provide us with that information and our capabilities. We're having ideas that we have to keep reminding him. As for the airport, they told us as long as we have a VPN between us and them, that it will work. But then they don't provide any directions. So we're gonna have to get with their technicians that helped us last time and say, okay, show us how this works and just tell us that we can do it.
excuse me, is this going to replace existing lines?
This is replacing all of the phones.
What were we paying for the old lines? Is there a?
Yes, we were paying more. And besides the fact that we were paying more, the system itself is 8 years and it needs to be
I
replaced.
just want to talk about the money thing right now. $792 a month for one and 300, so you're talking $1,100 a month.
This is the first time I've seen this, so I don't know.
First time I've seen it too, so anyways, $1,100 a month. So that's $1,400 a year, $14,000 a year. And what are we paying now for lines?
See, I don't know the situation. Is this in addition? Is this additional lines? I don't have, my consolidated bills in front of me, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, on my part, I was unsure that A was going to be here and Mr. Carter is the better contact for that.
Is this being done to accommodate a new telephone system?
Yes, it is.
Is it, and it's necessary for a new telephone system?
Yes, it is. Yet the old system is coming apart.
So what Chuck came and presented to you before is basically what, this is putting that down in paper to what he presented to you before. And I'm sure I probably got my other file, and maybe in this box, but if not, they'd be back in my office probably as well. But essentially, if we don't sign these forms, they can't finish doing the install. But I didn't feel like I was authorized to approve actual written contracts, and that's why I consulted with the chair, and he agreed as well that you guys should have a chance to see the actual language in these contracts.
So I'm curious about the two contracts that are here. The one that's listed as a 36-month term, and then we have a 60-month term. What's happening between these two contracts? Is it all for?
I'm led to believe that the coastal connections is the hardware section. And the consolidated is the networking provision that would provide the connectivity and the phone PBX on the back end.
Is this something that can wait 2 weeks?
I'm going to say yes.
So that we'd have Mr. Carter available?
Yes, so that you'd be able to more articulate.
Well, I look at these agreements and I thought we'd taken action on this to be honest, when we did the phone system, but I don't understand why that's different. I guess I'm not following why this is here.
I think it was just for approval of the contract, because I believe that they would not have shown up and they would not have installed the equipment until they got paid. So I believe this is just a formality.
Is that correct, Michael?
So as we understand it, these agreements, from the way I understand it, have not been presented to you in their actual form. So there was discussion about pricing, costs, and everything else in previous things, but Brittany did go back and looked at the records and stuff too, and couldn't find where there was an actual motion and vote where commission actually voted on these agreements, and presumably these prices as well, but it's my understanding every time Chuck came back, he was providing you updates for everything that he was asking for, so. And approvals at that time for all the equipment and other items, but these are the actual things that make it function from one to another.
Okay, so it sounds like that we just need to take action to memorialize what we've already done.
Your information.
Is that,
That was the way that it was conveyed to me.
I think this is the contact information. This is the contact information. Consolidated.
But I mean, I understood that Chuck was gonna have some of this information available, or that Danny was gonna present, not throwing up the bus.
No, that's completely
So
all
I
right.
mean, if Chuck hasn't provided it, then Chuck has to provide it.
I live in the same room, but yeah.
I mean, so that's the reality. If you still have questions, it's gonna happen.
Is Coastal Connections Consolidated Communications two different entities?
Yes, they are.
So what are we getting from Coastal?
I believe, I
The hardware?
believe the hardware is provided by Coastal.
What was indicated that I had was listed as Coastal Connection or Consolidated Communications is ultimately the provider that we have it with, but they outsource some of this work and some of the provision of this equipment, materials, or whatever it is, to Coastal Connection. The way that it was explained to me.
Subcontract.
Yeah, basically a subcontract.
So what are we agreeing to with Coastal for
Is
60
it
months?
$1 out to go short? This is just a system.
I'm afraid we need to talk. We need Chuck.
Mr. Guardia.
Yeah, I think this,
Sounds good.
let's just put this off.
Table it off.
We're gonna table this for another 2 weeks until Chuck can get back to us.
All right.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
so we're just not gonna take action on those three? Okay,
Even the forms, if you're talking. And Consolidated has a mixture of their people and our address mixed in with the customer identification line. Look the forms over those.
Okay.
And a question that Paul asked, and I'd ask the same one, is that why isn't there a dollar figure with Coastal Connections for the 60-month contract? What are we agreeing to for?
I'm going to.
I'm not asking you, Ben, I'm asking you, remember that asked that question, is
Okay.
how it's being down there too, so we can have an answer to that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we're gonna get to the budget calendar.
County Administrator.
They didn't take any action.
Sorry.
All set, Brittany?
Were you guys gonna table that?
Pardon?
I didn't know if you were gonna formally table that. I didn't know if you could-
Not formally, it's just, if you're just not gonna take any action, it's under advisement.
All right, so we're going to do the job description, resources.
All right, so before I approve the advertisement, who hope for the position, I took a look at the job description again. And most of what you have in front of you is either grammatical corrections, things that were missed the first time, nothing huge, or just adding in a couple items like background checks and things of that nature that the current HR, as this position has evolved, really has responsibility in working with the department heads and overseeing that process, collecting the information at the end of the day. So I provided you 2 copies, a clean version and an updated version. The strike-throughs are obviously what was removed and underlines were addition. And beyond that, just clarification under essential job functions, just adding to each line item to make it clear that there needs to be an understanding in addition to also directing, so that it's clear that this person bears responsibilities for that as well. So other than that, if there's any questions, asking for just approval so we can have a formal signature on the version that's updated that would apply to the people that we will be actually starting to interview this week.
So I'm gonna move to approve the amended human resources job description as presented.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
All right. Now to the Commissioners section. Draft budget calendar.
So it's getting close to caucus time, right? So do we, can we get that information again from you, Michael?
Or for each district, what positions are up for.
Yeah. Yeah, I will send that over to all of you.
Yeah, because we've got to schedule those and get the information back to you, right? If I remember, sometime in August.
Yeah, and then we have to send those formal notifications out for advertising for the caucuses.
Okay.
So yes, I'll try to turn these around today or tomorrow, and then as soon as you're able to set the dates and times that work for each one of you, then let me know that as soon as possible so we can get the notifications out.
Yeah, because that's in August, right?
Yeah, that's usually when you've done them. If you look at the schedule, you have to have it done no later than 100 days before the start of the fiscal year. So you would have to have that done by 9/23 at the latest. But generally, you've done them in August since I've been here and immediately preceding me.
Okay. Perfect.
And we've got a tentative schedule for the workshops, so it's not tentative, we've got the schedule for the workshops.
And I did present those to the department heads during the department head meeting last month. And right now, unless something comes up, everybody is good with those dates, so. And I will be notifying the existing BAC members as well as the delegation of the calendar as well. But obviously, we never know for sure whether or not the BAC is going to adhere to past practice of Wednesday night meetings until they have their first meeting and decide.
So I don't see anything wrong with this calendar. I'm ready to take action. I don't know how the other commissioners feel.
Only thing I wanna, like, I know like it's the past practice to do it on Wednesdays. But, would commissioners be object to it being, to encouraging them to do it on Tuesdays instead, since the same days are meeting? But their budget, their meetings, that they'll. I only say that because, like, that's why, like, I miss like half the budget things, because on Wednesdays, depending on what my schedule is, like, they can't go.
You always have Tuesdays.
Yeah, so Tuesdays I always have off, so it makes it a lot easier.
Makes no difference to me.
Well, I think, I don't know if it was the first year that I was on, one of the reasons they picked Wednesdays, I thought, is because a lot of them have Tuesday municipal meetings. I don't know if that's still the case.
Yeah, it could be. Okay. Well, we'll just keep it as it is. Do my best. All right,
Well, wait, I don't know if there's anything wrong with Michael, just
you can ask.
doing a quick preview. of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can send
That's
out
fine.
to the existing ones, obviously I won't know who gets elected for the open positions, but I mean, I could check and see if anybody has conflicts and whether either night is better or worse for them.
That's good.
The only comment I got is that, the second of, the 4th of September is a Wednesday because of the, holiday on Monday. But it's the first meeting of the month. I'm just wondering if we didn't perhaps overload that, we could have overloaded the 20th of August, Michael. Do you have a directional of as to why who's with?
So, I mean, there's no set, it's really just been past practice in terms of who historically, traditionally has prepared them and how they've been set up. I mean, I can certainly move those around however you want. And, you know, hopefully that'll still be consistent with department heads being able to attend.
I'm sure that net overlay health insurance reserves will go quick. Maintenance is gonna require some time, and I don't know about animal control.
Should be straightforward.
I'm just curious if maybe if we move maintenance and animal control back to the 20th. We always put the sheriff's department in jail same night.
So maintenance was originally on the schedule twice because I forgot last year we had them present twice because of second proposal to handle the new position that was created last year. So originally it was on the 20th, but I think the preference when I asked about it, because that's when Dave was here during the meeting, he had indicated the 4th, but as long as you're okay presenting on the 20th.
Yeah, fine.
That can be popped back to the 20th and that would take maintenance off. I mean, in theory, I suppose, debt and overlay would be nothing anyway, so, like you said, health insurance by that time.
Animal control, ACO could easily go on.
And, yeah, we could probably pop that up, because we'll definitely have that done by then too, so.
And I don't think we need to take action on this, do we?
Yeah, I mean, basically, is to do what we're doing right now, have the conversation, and as long as I make the changes that you're in agreement with, then, I will announce it, but before I presented it, I wanted to make sure that you were set with the dates and everything else, but basically, I tentatively taken the historical dates and then also combine that with the statute references and plugged in what you have in front of you. So, I mean, I can just make those changes and get it out the door if everybody's in agreement.
I know I have some stuff coming up in August, but I don't, those are regular meeting dates, so I don't, I think we're fine on my end.
Special meeting for the public hearing. 25th. Does it have to be a Wednesday?
I mean, no, not that I know of, we just have to get it in on.
Nobody's gonna show up to it necessarily. Hate to say.
So I,
If we could have it be on a Tuesday.
during the morning time, like a regular Tuesday morning, or are you talking still Tuesday night, but at night instead of Wednesday?
So it would have to be at night.
We have had that special, that public hearing in conjunction with a commissioners meeting in the past, haven't we?
I don't think so. I think it's always been separate.
You're talking about the one.
Yeah, the second informational meeting you have.
November 19th one we do.
No, I'm talking about the 25th, September 25th tentative one.
And we know, the one we put together with that meeting is November 19th.
Okay. Okay,
I'm just trying to not have it be a Wednesday.
And that's just tradition, Michael, is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
since I've been here, that's just using the dates and looking at a couple of years before that, but I think the
Is
time.
that, so at that meeting, we, generally the BAC is here, right?
Yeah, and usually I think that's part of it.
I guess this falls back into the same thing.
But we did make a change in the last 2 years because we haven't just given them, we tell them in advance, this isn't gonna be like in the past where you get it before, because you're finalizing the budget right up to even possibly right before that meeting. So that's where we've said, you're not gonna get your full complete binder until the following week.
That's been the misconception. They come here wondering where's their
That's
budget.
where everything is, where the full book is. And last year, that was better. I mean, first year, I was here like 2 weeks before that happened, but we did it better last year and had got the information out. Now, whether or not everybody understood that, I think we still had some people that had that expectation that it would still be there, but we had conveyed to them that they wouldn't get the full thing until the following week.
I think what they need to understand is your last chance to give us your comments on the proposed budget. We're gonna get the
Before
BAC.
it's turned over to you.
I don't know why we couldn't do it Tuesday.
See if you can change it to Tuesday.
Is
So
that,
Tuesday morning or Tuesday night? The question I think would be with the night is just whether or not you could get people in and how many of the BAC members would be available to
well,
be
if
there.
it's understood that they don't get a copy of it, this is their last opportunity to comment about what we're gonna give back to them. Why are they even coming?
They don't need to be there.
They don't need to be. I think once they understand that, I can hear Kathleen right now, where's my budget? How can I comment if I don't have a budget? And they understood, this is just your last opportunity to make suggestions or comments before we give it to you. Why come in all?
But I mean, the only question would be whether or not, and there's historically not a lot of attendance at that meeting, from what I understand. It would just be whether or not that, by having it in the morning, is preventing somebody from attending a public hearing that you set aside at night. I mean, I have no dog either way, I'll be here, so,
I
but
think, try to schedule it for the morning is what I would encourage. I mean, we're still gonna have, it'll still be a public meeting on Zoom, so
This is a regular meeting day?
it's not,
would be a
but
lot.
it's just Tuesday, which just makes it easier to know. It's-
Well, it's a special meeting, but it's traditionally, it was set to accommodate the BAC, is my guess, because of the date and time.
Yeah.
And I guess Bill's point is, do we need to do that?
And why don't we set it for in the morning of the 24th? Move our second meeting of the month to the 24th, because that's one of the months that we have 5. Wait a minute. Yeah, 5 Tuesdays. Because we still don't have a meeting, even if we met the 24th, we still don't, wait a minute, we're gonna meet on October 1st, don't we?
We have to change,
We have to. Well, we got,
because that meeting, the September 17th is when we finalize the estimates. So I think you have to have a space probably for everything to get finalized.
Normally, what you've done is after, well, since I've been here, and what we've done is had a meeting, we've had a public hearing, we'd open up a special meeting and taken a vote on whatever the final version is that's gonna be presented. But I mean, in theory, if you felt comfortable, you got through the first 3 weeks worth of hearings and we got through everything. In theory, you could take that final budget estimates, but again, you're taking a risk of not,
It's the,
not having the public hearing materials ready
it's
for.
screws to us a little bit for that last, for that second. meeting.
so you're calling, just have a special meeting on the 24th, just for, like, the. Just the only thing we're gonna do.
Which is basically that, and then presumably adopt or, essentially come up with what your final recommended budget is to the BAC. So you'd have special meeting, which would contain a public hearing in the beginning part of it, and then the second part would be taking an actual vote on whatever it is you approve, with or without change, depending on what comes up in the public hearing. Which is the argument why you would not approve it prior to the public hearing.
So we're gonna try to finalize it on the 17th, but it gives us a second opportunity to finalize if we have something between the
If
17th.
something came up, or if something during the public hearing came up then you could say, okay, we're gonna make this final change.
So we're gonna meet in the morning on the 24th.
That sounds like my plan.
Michael, you all set with that?
Yeah. So 8:30 AM on that 24th.
All right. All right, I think all the updates look good.
So you don't want a motion, Michael, or you don't need one?
It's entirely up to the board. I mean, if you want to formalize it, you can. If not, I mean,
If we don't formalize it and Michael finds a reason to change it, he's not bound by this, I think.
Just said, my consensus, agree with the
We
changes.
understand right now, this is Michael's suggestion.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. All right. Now we've got time for some executive session fun. Got a motion?
We ready? I'm gonna move to go in executive session as permitted by MRSA Title 1, 4056A for exempt employee evaluation. Airport Manager Leroy Muse.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're back, coming back out of executive session, with nothing to report. Has Commissioner Parity come back on yet?
No, I figured you would just stay.
We want to take a quick break.
Okay,
Can we take a break?
yeah, I'll take a break.
Okay, so you're gonna adjourn for now.
Well, Can we go into executive session, and then, she's gonna be staying for the executive.
Yeah.
So,
Two.
I'm gonna
Oh,
move,
Paul does want to, he is there to come in.
did you say, Monica, I'm sorry? Paul's there.
We have Paul.
We need to call Dennis for the next executive session.
Paul?
Can't hear Paul.
He's muted and. There he is.
Yeah, you got me?
Okay. All right. Why don't you put us in executive session again?
Okay, I'm gonna move to go in executive session as permitted by MRSA Title 1, 4056C, acquisition of real property.
Second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And during our executive
There you go.
All right, we're coming out of executive session.
And can you hear me?
We can hear you, Paul. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're out of executive session. The first item I'm gonna make is to move to authorize the chair to sign an engagement letter from Modern Valuation Solutions LLC for the property being considered of approximately 4 acres with the appraisal to be paid for from ARPA funds.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Second is move to approve the letter to be sent to Hancock County municipalities as presented and amended to read approximately 4 acres instead of the 2.4 acres stated in the draft.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Do we have any county administrative comments?
Just one item, I received an email and have briefly spoken with her as well. Avery Varney from the Hancock County Planning Commission wanted to know if the commissioners in an upcoming meeting, and obviously indicated today probably wasn't the best day, but if she could come and just give a brief presentation about kind of an update on where they're going, what they've been doing, as well as the projects that she has going with the counties in Hancock, with the municipalities in the county of Hancock, and just bring you up to speed on all of that. So,
Who's this?
Avery Varney, the new executive director of the Hancock County Planning Commission.
Planning Commission.
So my answer depends on your answer.
Yeah, just, where, ask her to keep it short and, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so usually we tell them our presentation 5 to 10 minutes, and 5 minutes questions, so no more than like 15 minutes at best.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
Good to be.
all right, thank you.
Any commissioner comments or suggestions?
Only that, we've all agreed that we're gonna meet on the 23rd instead of the 16th for the second meeting of the month, correct?
Correct.
Yes, we agreed that last meeting, right?
All right, well, I think that's all we need, except for one last motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, Michael and Brittany, you'll have these motions momentarily.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Which one? These are the